Hello, Ryan here, aka Mac, and welcome. We have two brand new monthly reports. Today, I will be breaking down the Squadron 42 report. As always, a huge thank you to all of my patrons and channel members. Thank you guys so much for all the support, it is truly appreciated. So, kicking off with the AI content team, they began the year integrating the deck crew behavior into various story scenes, which is a process to transition a scene from a track view story scene sequence to a systemic AI behavior, such as the engineer. The team also held a progress review looking at the latest implementation of the deck crew behavior. They showcased several new actions taking place around the Gladius, including checking the fuel diagnostic terminal and repairing damaged wings. So they say that the deck crew is starting to feel like a real team of people. More features will be added to increase realism throughout the hangar, like movable trolleys, drivable forklift trucks, and dynamic conversations. Now this, I feel, will be great to see happening as we are moving around the hangar, watching the crew getting on with the stuff. It does sound like when you return in your ship after, say, a mission, if you have sustained damage and used up quite a bit of fuel or weaponry, these NPCs will actively get on with sorting your ship out. And hopefully this sort of thing will eventually transition to hangars in the PU where you land, and you will see NPCs, if you pay them, coming out and fixing and sorting your ship out. Now the AI content team also progressed with the feature test maps mentioned last month, adding arcade machines and vending machines. The next step is to begin testing entire behaviors rather than individual usables. So it sounds like they are making great progress on building out these NPC behaviors, giving each AI a bit more of a character to them. Now for the AI features team, they continued to work on NPCs perceiving and reacting to dead bodies, which are set up as usables, so bringing a wealth of functionality. For example, the ability to specify locations around the dead body for the AI to inspect. Progress was also made on Vanduul combat, specifically improving their effectiveness at mid-range, so maybe don't fight them at mid-range. New animations were prototyped that telegraph the direction of attack, allowing perceptive players to dodge out of the way. Now I do hope that it's not overly obvious when we're fighting the Vanduul. I'm sure there will be various grades of Vanduul, some of them being more competent than others. The team also implemented and polished the animations for carrying and surrender. Now for the AI tech team, they implemented a way for the designers to enforce movement style on characters, which will be used on specific characters like Captain White, who is Sir Davos, whatever his name is, to add more unique style to movement based on the scene. Now it was mentioned a long while ago, and it was more of a brief mention, that one day they may look into the option for PU players, or for us, to choose our own sort of walk styles and such, so we're not all walking the same. I do wonder if they will still bother with this. Of course, it's currently of no significance in the PU right now, so it might not be a top priority for them. Now onto the animation team, they worked on player animation idles and approached the last stages of cowering and surrender, and they also created blockouts for the fire suppression device and continued work on Vanduul combat, the firing range usable, dead body investigation, and locomotion improvements. I wonder what this fire suppression device could be, especially when it's for animation. Interesting. The character art team touched up the concepts for the Screaming Galsons, ensuring they have a spread of different armor weights. For environment art, the team continued to develop key locations, this time aiming to get large-scale assets into the game to help shape each area and give them a much more distinct feel and purpose. And they also began scouting for space locations in the game world. It says that art and design worked closely on select key chapters, with the environment team saying this combined effort is helping shape the environments and gameplay closer to what we're aiming for, and we're all excited to see this progress. Now moving on to the gameplay story team, they began the year following up on the turret work that was done last year, updating all the story scenes to match the newly defined metrics, with the team saying it is definitely satisfying to see this work come to fruition and for our characters to enter the turrets seamlessly. They also continued adding new bodies, faces, and audio to random to NPC scenes, and this is progressing well and is expected to carry on throughout the first quarter of 2022. So next up we have the graphics and visual effects programming team. They have supported cinematics with fixes for cube map rendering in track view, and they added a letterbox feature to the camera code to avoid sorting issues in cutscenes. They continue to work on shaders with various improvements to screen space reflections, resulting in much sharper and stable reflections with softer fall-off where they can't be calculated. The team also cleaned up the volumetric lighting shader for water and continued to iterate on new wear shaders with the various art teams. Now for Gen 12, the team fixed multiple issues including particles not being visible and various cube map problems. They added support for particle GPU refraction and split render passes to inject another pass. They also began testing Gen 12 shadows and investigated issues with render to texture in Gen 12. And finally, they began converting the game's post-effect systems to GeForce Effect. More about the Gen 12 progress on Star Citizen Sunday this week, so do keep an eye out for that. The visual effects teams also focused on the damage map work, code interface support for the weapons team, and made a start on the CPU damage map. And finally, they continued with the fire hazard feature, investigating issues with the fire igniter not working, and fixing issues with resetting fire. So quite a lot of great work going on there. Again, we are yet to see what this fire hazard is going to look like as a final element. Hopefully we'll get to see this rolling out to the select ships that they choose in the near term. Now for the level design team, the space and dogfighting team prepared the campaign chapters to flow into each other continuously without reloads and work towards completing the turret gameplay experience. The FPS team completed detailed planning on how to bring several chapters up to vertical slice quality, while the social design team continued the significant task of implementing all scenes to all chapters. So sounds like a lot of amazing progress is being made there. It'll be interesting to find out just how much is left to do. Now, for the narrative team, they prepared for an upcoming motion capture session, which will be used to capture additional vignettes and procedural content for one of the campaign's set pieces, allowing for the first pass implementation of the final content. Very nice. The team also continued to create scripts and placeholder recordings just to help judge whether the scenes are working as intended, and once these scenes are signed off on, their final capture session will be scheduled. The tech animation team have been addressing long-standing issues and upgrading all team members to the latest version of Maya. For the UI team, work on the new Starmap continued, with progress made on concepts, prototypes, and core technology. They also continued building the core systems for the new AR markers, while work on icons for the various marker types and states as well. So very happy to hear the continuous progress on the Starmap. It does sound like it's not too far away. I do wonder if these AR markers with the various icons are for us to be placing waymarkers. Perhaps it could be somewhat Squadron 42 specific, but I cannot wait to see what this looks like, what we will be able to do with it. They are really taking this opportunity to fully revamp the map and add a lot more functionality at the same time as well. So hoping it's early this year or, first half of this year that the new Starmap comes out, but we are yet to see anything of what it looks like. The UI tech team also continued to develop additional building blocks features, some of which will be used in the hacking feature, and additional planning went into the pre-production process of the new building blocks editor as well. Finally, additional concepts for the new Mobiglass and Origin UI styles were created and iterated on. It'd be quite interesting to see what this new Mobiglass looks like. Maybe it's Squadron 42 specific, I do not know. Finally, we have the visual effects team. They started out working on a battle scene that was mentioned in last month's report, and alongside the cinematics team, they began fleshing out some of the more elaborate battle effects, paying attention to timings and scale to sell the feeling of a battle taking place around the player. Does sound pretty epic. The team also began dealing in effects for a key location, focusing on a vertical slice to show how the rest of it should appear. So it does sound like this vertical slice is not like the vertical slice gameplay demo we have had in the past, more used to demonstrate things internally, maybe what the end goal is for all the other teams to see and work towards perhaps. Anyway, that is January's Squadron 42 monthly report. Quite a short but sweet update, and for those wondering where the engine section is, my techie friend is helping to write it out for me, so making it more understandable that I can translate it across for us all to basically get more of an understanding of what it means. This will appear in the PU monthly report when I get round to that, which should be early next week. But with that said, I hope you enjoyed the video. Please do consider subscribing and helping the channel to grow. Also, come and hang out with me over at twitch.tv/supermacbrother. You are all more than welcome. Hit the thumbs up if you don't mind. It does do the channel a big favour, and tick that notification bell if you would like to be notified when my videos go live. Again, huge thank you to my patrons and channel members. Thank you guys so much for the support. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.